part 2 of the Crimean War, where we are going to talk about the charge of the Light Brigade. Okay, so if you saw my part 1 video where we were looking at the map, we talked about, I don't know if y'all can see it very well, the peninsula occupied by Russia in the Black Sea. And we talked about how that the rest of Europe does not love the idea of Russia having naval ships that can easily go through the Mediterranean Sea and attack anywhere it wants or go anywhere it wants around them. And so they would love to focus their fighting efforts on, I keep losing my place, I'm sorry, on that peninsula in the Black Sea, which is where the Charge of the Light Brigade battle is taking place. And it's actually called the Battle of, I always mispronounce it, Balaclava. Oh, don't do it right. Because down here is that fort. It's like a big fort. Okay, sorry. Also, I know these look like giant caterpillars. They're supposed to be like hills, you know? Like, so just pretend this doesn't look like a sun. This is a hill, like flat, and then this is a hill, and that's a hill, and this is a hill. Okay. And down here, you have Balaclava, which is like a British fort. Well, then the Russians tried to take this over, and then the British push it back. The problem is, did I say Russians? Yeah, the Russians take it, and the Russians get pushed back. But the Russians are all over here, so I've got R's for Russia. So the Russians are on here and all along here, and these are all cannons here. So there's guns, people, soldiers, all Russian people there. French have got some infantry set up here, and the British are here and here. All right, so this is a valley. This is so North Valley, South Valley. So this is Causeway Heights, and the reason this is important is because there's a supply road kind of goes through there, which in the winter especially was important. So after the success here, Lord Raglan, who I have his face, who's in charge of this area, there he is. And he's up here on this hill watching everything. Give him a little telescope. He's looking at everything, and he is saying, like, hey, we just drove them out. Let's keep driving them. Let's just keep pushing them. So he sends word to his cavalry leader, Lord Lucan. He's in charge of the cavalry. And if you don't know, cavalry means horses. So you have the heavy brigade of horses, which is like they're more heavily armored. And then you have the light brigade, which does not have the armor, but they're just really fast because they're not weighed down. So he's in charge of them. So Lord Raglan sends a message to Lord Lucan saying, hey, go push these guys off the Causeway Heights. And so Lord Raglan gets the note, and he's like, no, he just doesn't do it because he's like, I'm going to wait for the soldiers. Soldiers are on their way, but they're not here yet. So we're going to wait. Now, Lord Raglan is looking down there at Lucan, and he's just like, why isn't he moving? He's not doing anything. I know he got my note. And so he's getting really frustrated. He's like, why is he not moving? The other person who's getting frustrated, we got to introduce another character, Officer Nolan. Now, a little bit about Officer Nolan. He's going to be up here with Lord Raglan. Up here. Nolan is a horse enthusiast, especially when it comes to cavalry and battle. He wrote a bunch of books about it, and that is his expertise. And he's been especially frustrated that the cavalry has not been utilized more. So when he sees that Lucan is ignoring this command to go after these soldiers and push them away, he's getting like, and he's kind of a hothead, they said too. We're gonna move him over. He's got the I love horses. So they're getting increasingly frustrated. Then one of the officers up here, who also has his little looking glass, he's like, by Jove, they're taking the guns. And Raglan's like, what do you mean? So all along here, there are cannons. Well, he sees Russian soldiers on horseback and lassos, and they start trying to take the guns. And so now the infantry still hasn't come yet, but he sees them trying to take these cannons. So he sends a note to Lord Lucan, and I want to read what it says. It says, Lord Raglan wishes the cavalry to advance rapidly to the front, follow the enemy, and try to prevent the enemy from carrying away the guns. Now, I read an article, and the guy who wrote it actually went to these sites and stood where Lord Raglan stood and stood where Lord Lucan stood. From his position, it doesn't, from Lord Raglan's position, it doesn't look like as steep of a, it doesn't look as steep. It's just kind of like, I think his interpretation was that he just kind of wanted Lucan to send his soldiers up the hill and just kind of just be a presence and kind of just scare the Russians away so they would hurry on and move on and not take the guns. That was the thought. Now, again, Nolan is getting frustrated. So when Raglan needs this note delivered, it's not like he can call him, right? He's got to have a handwritten note delivered. Nolan's like, give me the note, I'll take it, all right. So it's like, all right, man, calm down. So Nolan grabs the note and he rushes down to Lucan. He's like, read it, it's from Lord Raglan. And so Lucan kind of looks at this and he's just like, what does this mean? What are you talking about? And Nolan's just like, the guns, man, go get the guns. Like, where? And he's just like, and Lucan is like, what guns? What guns? Because keep in mind, and again, this guy who wrote the article stood where Lucan was. He is kind of at the base of this, and because of all this hilliness, he can't see on top what's happening of these hills. And so Nolan makes this gesture, like, that way, there are the guns, there's the enemy, go attack. And again, Nolan's using the word attack. That's not, Raglan's note did not say attack. So Nolan's just like, that way, and he just kind of gestures. But if Nolan, whoop, here goes Britain. Nolan is just gesturing this way. But again, Lucan can't see what's on top of these hills. He just sees this general direction this way. But what he can see are the Russian cannons at the mouth of the valley. So he's just like, oh, this seems like a really bad idea. But he sends a note to, so that, remember I said heavy brigade, light brigade. Lord Cardigan, the sweet mustache, he is in charge of the light brigade. So Lucan sends a note to Cardigan, and Nolan again is like, I'll take that. So he goes over to Lord Cardigan, and again he said, well, I don't have that part written down, but it was just like, basically like, Lord Raglan is ordering you to attack the guns. And Lucan is like, apparently it's these guns here. Cardigan's like, you want us to walk and right into the face of the enemy? This seems like a terrible idea. And Nolan's like, basically like, you scared, which makes Cardigan really mad. And he's just like, if I survive this, like, you and me are going to have it out. Like, how dare you talk to me that way? So Nolan's being very taunting and aggressive through all of this. And he even goes to Lucan and is just like, are you sure? Like, there's Russians on this side, in front of us. And Lucan is just like, I mean, them the orders. He wants us to go get those guns. So Cardigan's like, all right, pony up. So Cardigan, French, you're back here. Cardigan gets his men. He's in the front. Nolan sees a friend of his in the Light Brigade and joins the group. So they're going. Now Raglan is watching all of this from where he is. Well, they start going down the valley, but he doesn't. Raglan's waiting for him to go up the hill, but he doesn't. He just keeps going straight. And Nolan rushes to the front. Now, we don't know why. We don't know, is he like, wait a second, no, you're going the wrong way. You're supposed to be going up here. Because remember, Nolan's so passionate when he's giving these directions. I don't know that he's picking up on the fact that they're confused about which guns to get. So maybe he's rushing to the front to say to Cardigan, no, not those guns, the ones up here. Or some people think, maybe because he's just so excited to be using the cavalry, he wants to be in the front. And I think that's what Cardigan thinks, because Cardigan doesn't even listen to him. And we'll never know because Nolan gets killed. Boom, right off the rip. Dead. So Cardigan just keeps on going. And of course, his men, so he's got 676 men. They start going, and of course, what happens? They get shot at. Cannons to the left of them, cannons to the right of them, cannons in front of them. Volley and shell, they go and they go and they go. Now he's urging this men forward, and it's getting smoky and confusing, and people are shooting at them. Lord Cardigan gets separated from his men, and he goes back here. And his men are still fighting. They go past the guns and start fighting all the cavalry people, and those Russian cavalry take off. They're fighting, but the problem is now they have to go back. All the way back through the gamut again. And they were supposed to send, Lucan was supposed to send the heavy brigade, from what I read, but then held them back because he's like, well, I'm not going to send them to go get killed as well. So the light brigade is on their own. Now the French do try to help out. They try to start attacking at least the shooters to give a little help to the people trying to get back. So then all these men have to try to come back. And it said, and of course Raglan's just watching all this like, what is happening? This is not what I told him. So how many men came back? Let's see. 107 were killed, 50 were missing or captured, and then 187 were wounded. And I read somewhere, I don't know if this is true, because I think it was Wikipedia, but I did read somewhere that Lord Cardigan left and went, he had like a yacht nearby and went to his yacht and was drinking champagne. I mean, like not feeling bad about the situation at all. And then after the war, they were trying to see who was to blame. And Raglan blamed Lucan. Cardigan, now keep in mind, they're also brother-in-laws who don't like each other. Cardigan blames Lucan too and says, oh, he should have had the morals to disobey an order that he knew was wrong. Which the irony is, he could have disobeyed his order, but he didn't. But he's blaming him for not disobeying Lord Raglan's orders. So they're all pointing fingers and blaming each other. And then some people blame Nolan for just the way he handled and saying attack and all of that. And then some people blame Lord Raglan for not giving clear orders. He could have said, taking the gun off the heights, instead of just saying the guns. Anyway, it was a huge mess. Russia does lose this war overall, but it's a pretty long and gruesome war for both sides. But that's eventually what happens. And what I would like to do now is read to you a poem written by Alfred Lord Tennyson about this battle. Charge of the Light Brigade by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Half a league, half a league, half a league onward, all in the valley of death rode the 600. Forward the Light Brigade, charge for the guns, he said. Into the valley of death rode the 600. Forward the Light Brigade. Was there a man dismayed? Not though the soldiers knew someone had blundered. Theirs not to make reply, theirs not to reason why, theirs but to do and die. Into the valley of death rode the 600. Cannons to the right of them, cannons to the left of them, cannons in front of them, volleyed and thundered, stormed out with shot and shell. Boldly they rode and well into the jaws of death, into the mouth of hell rode the 600. Flashed all their sabers bare, flashed as they turned in air, sabering the gunners there, charging an army while all the world wondered. Plunged into battery smoke, right through the line they broke. Cossack and Russian reeled from the saber stroke, shattered and sundered. Then they rode back, but not the 600. Cannons to the right of them, cannons to the left of them, cannon behind them, volleyed and thundered, stormed out with shot and shell, while horse and hero fell. They that had fought so well came through the jaws of death, back from the mouth of hell. All that was left of them, left of the 600. When can their glory fade? Oh, the wild charge they made. All the world wondered. Honor the charge they made. Honor the Light Brigade. Noble 600. Now, that was pretty serious. But on a lighter note, you have to, with a parent's permission, on YouTube, they have the Little Rascals, Charge of the Light Brigade. I will try to link it in my description. I think I know how to do that. I'm not sure, but you've got to watch. It's so funny. You will not be disappointed. It's the funniest thing. I wish I could show it to you right here, but you're going to have to go look it up. I promise it'll be worth it. That's your homework. Little Rascals, Charge of the Light Brigade. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time.